Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today I have Scratch with me here and we are continuing our review of the Legendary Champion. So if you guys missed out, we did a Fire Legendary Champion review on Scratch's channel. Make sure to check out his channel and see what we had to talk about. And now we're going to talk about the Poison Heroes on my channel. And let's start. How are you doing, Scratch?
Yeah, doing pretty good, bro. Doing pretty good. I was just looking because I don't have any of the poison legendary heroes, you know. So I'm very curious to see why you think which one is the best out of all of them. I'm curious to see if it changed around since the beta. You know, like I really wanted Argon there in the beta. Like he was my most wanted, and I feel like he's still one of my most wanted champions. So I'm curious to see what you're thinking as well about all these legendaries. You have them all from here?
Yeah, I do have them all. I was playing them. They were actually very strong in beta, especially when it came to arena, because Frost and Poison were together.
Yeah.
So people were able to use a lot of the good support units, the defense units of Poison heroes, with support and some amazing DPS units of Frost heroes, which we'll talk about in future video as well.
Yeah,
but yeah, Poison actually has some. I think they have a hidden potential. A lot of people have been sleeping on Poison, from my idea. Whoever I talk to, they are very hard to build most of the time. When you're building the DPS units in Poison versus any other affinity, they are the hardest to build. But yeah, they have some real potential, especially with some new champions that we're going to talk about. So the first champion, Legendaries.
Yeah.
I love his design. I love the purple stones in the middle of his armor.
He looks sick. He actually reminds me a bit, gives me the vibes of Foley. Maybe it's because of the blades. Now, of course, they don't really look that similar, but I don't know why it gave me this vibe from the beginning, you know, like really dark.
It gives me the vibe of Inithwe.
True.
But with the different...
The armor actually. Yeah. I see it now.
That's what it reminds me of. He has an amazing aura. If you have played with poison heroes, the poison damage, most of the poison heroes damage is based off of enlightenment and attack.
Yeah.
They may or may not do derivative damage, but they are still required to have enlightenment. That's how the poison works in this game. Even though it's not coded, it's not written properly. A lot of the time you will see some of the poison heroes that just mention the 40% attack, but I did thorough testing with this on during the beta days, where I put enlightenment, put attack to figure out what they're doing. And enlightenment does affect the poison damage in this game. That's how enlightenment works. And moving over to his skills, his passive is actually pretty strong. It's one of the strongest for the poison heroes. So whenever his skills deals damage to a target under poison, he deals this derivative damage. And that's where most of the damage that comes from in Poison team is going to come from Legendaries. So he's one of those few heroes that really excels in Poison team. And as long as you're able to keep up poisons on the enemy, he's going to do really good damage.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's almost, I feel like the derivative damage in a way or another works very similar with like War Master procs or Giant Slayer procs, you know, like non-crit, specific amount of HP. It's pretty interesting, yeah.
Yeah, but in this game, like, you can increase that damage.
Yeah, with the enlightenment,
so it's kind of like a mini enemy max HP damage if you think about it.
Yeah.
But the poisons actually in this game are a bit of a disappointment compared to like if you play like Raid. The poisons, you feel like they should be doing much more damage.
I know, right? But you need, how you mentioned, you need to give the right stuff to them in order to...
Yeah, even then it's like not that high. Like even if it says like 0.5% of the max HP, I don't feel like that's really the case. Because for example, when you're playing Vortex, you don't even know how much max HP he has.
Yeah, but it does say as well, like, for example, or up to 40% of the hero's max attack, you know, so it's kind of like taking the highest or the lowest in consideration, and yeah, it's a cap, like it's definitely a cap on all these 0.5 enemy max HP, 100%.
Yeah, and at 40% also is like misleading, because if you give him more enlightenment, the poison actually takes for larger value. So it's a bit weird mechanic how the poison works. I'm not 100% on it, because unless we see like further details from the devs.
Yeah.
But his battle skill is pretty good. So he jumps towards the lowest enemy HP
Yep.
champion, and like so it's good for PvP, but it's not one of the best. So he will start off fighting the tank, and then he will jump towards the lowest
HP. Yeah.
lowest HP champion, and he has a 75% chance of inflicting 2 stacks of poison. So by himself, he doesn't put out a lot of poisons. These poisons go away very quickly, and you won't see like these massive stacks of poisons. But in a poison team, he's really good. His ultimate jumps and strikes the designated area, dealing 250% attack and 1200% enlightenment damage. So you really want like a lot of enlightenment, and attack is secondary.
It does look like 1200%. It does make quite a bit of a impact. You know, it's similar with Hexandra's healing. You know, she has like some crazy numbers like this on the enlightenment. Yeah,
enlightenment heroes all healers require enlightenment, and these derivative damage dealers also require enlightenment. But he's one of the highest DPS for a poison team in a PvE. In PvP, derivative damage doesn't really do much.
They have low HP and stuff, so it's not as efficient. But it's good to know that he's one of the best for a PvE, guys. What do you think about Jatalea? She's not a new hero, if I remember it correctly. She's from the
but she's been designed. She has a new design.
New design. I was gonna say she's more glowy now. She's happier. She's happier.
She got new LEDs for the season 1. She's actually really good for PvP. I have faced her in PvP, and last season, especially in a Frost team, she was really strong. So her passive deals enemy with damage dealt to enemies with less than 35% will increase by 25%. So this doesn't really come into play that much, even in PvE or PvP. So I think that's a wasted passive. They should really like give that passive another chance.
Like probably a bit. Put them like when they have 100% all the way down to 75 or 65 will make more sense, you know, because you have basically your initial damage boosted. That's
when you want the damage to be boosted. Like under 35%, like it's usually GG's
game over.
But her battle skill is interesting. She puts up 3 stacks of poisons, and then gains enlightenment up. This enlightenment up actually does help her with her ultimate. But by herself, again, she's not a great poisoner. Like there are better poisoners who will put a lot of stacks by themselves. And in PvE situation, when you look at her ultimate, so this is really good for PvP. In arena, this is amazing because when you are going to go to end game, you're gonna see a lot of resurrectors or like these Mithrasi comps.
There are lots of them already.
So when she deals damage by her ultimate, and if she kills somebody, they cannot be revived.
That's very good actually.
So she is really good. Like even in like when you're fighting in CVC, the one way to counter the Frost team was to use Mithrasi, and if you have this champion in a Frost team in the previous season, she was really strong. So even if you're trying to build like a fire team for arena and you have this one poison unit, you can use her. She does deal really high damage with this skill, and the other person cannot revive them.
That's the important thing. Like if you manage to kill their nuker, you know, like then even if it keeps you a bit longer in the fight with the rest, if they can resurrect the tanks or whatever, they have other supports, you're still gonna be at the top of the fighter. So that's great actually. She does look freaking amazing though.
She does look pretty amazing. The one thing wrong with her ultimate is that in PvP she will steal the damage from every other unit. So it's a poison explosion damage. So the more poisons you have, the higher the skill will do damage. And it also does derivative damage, but that is just a one derivative damage.
Plus it's not that
like
huge.
10 stacks or anything like that, it will do like 10 times the damage, and then all the poisons will explode. So she basically steals the damage in a long run, like a vortex. This doesn't work well. And maybe goblin runs and everything, she does really well. But if you're facing like vortex, she basically steals the damage from everybody else.
Yeah, so that's not a good thing. So she's a no-no for the Vortex guys, huh?
Yeah. Lothair is probably better.
She's kind of like a Xavier, you know, like racking all
Yeah.
the poison, stealing all the damage from the rest.
Yeah.
Vikana, what do you think about her? She's new, right?
She is new, and I think she's one of the most powerful poison units that have been released. I was testing her. I've not fully tested her. I was testing her at level 70s, but I haven't had to scroll her up yet. And she
Yeah.
was dealing, in some occasions, more damage than Lothair.
Oh wow.
So I have to fully test her to say like, oh yeah, she 100% deals more damage. But she is very powerful. One of the most powerful poison champions that have been released in the game. And her passive is really nice. So as we discussed before, right? Like whenever you're dealing poison or you're dealing derivative damage, you need that enlightenment bonus.
Yeah.
And she gets a lot of enlightenment bonus. So each time she does a poison or any ally does poison, she gains this enlightenment up. And you can get like a 25% very easily and very early, depending on what champions you use, that enlightenment increase. And her battle skill, she deals 3 bolts. So if you have her fully scrolled up, she's going to deal like 100% chance of like 3 poison stacks.
And it's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, and her ultimate is, I think, the poison version of Flora's ultimate. So when she deals her ultimate, she fires an arrow, dealing poison damage to enemies within range and marking them for 10 seconds. And each time the marked enemy is inflicted with poison, a toxic blast is triggered, dealing derivative poison damage. So this is equivalent to what Flora does in a poison comp. I mean, in Flora comp, you need the wild check. In her, you just need to add poison.
Poisons, yeah.
So if you pair her with somebody like Durango, which we're going to talk about later, this damage gets really high very quickly.
Yeah, even Lorari. Lorari is a rare champion. He puts like freaking 2,000 stacks of poisons. That rare champion is crazy. Like 2 stacks on the battle skill, 3 on the ultimate, you know? And he's 100% domed. He's actually such a crazy rare, yeah? Drops lots of poisons.
Yeah, so if you have champions that can put out a lot of poisons, yeah, she is a great addition to that team. She can dish out a lot of damage by herself.
She looks badass, like she's ready for a fight. Vikana.
Yeah, she has that Viking design. I mean, this is like an Assassin's Creed character.
Even the hair, you know, like Durango, the assassin, really looks like some sort of Egyptian assassin, huh?
Yeah, he is the best poisoner, like for applying poisons, not the best damage dealer, but making all the poison teams viable. So if you have him, like you can put up like 13, 15, 20 stacks I've seen with him of poisons. Yeah, so his passive, the moment the battle starts, he puts out these 3 stacks of poison, up to 3 stacks of poisons, right from the get-go, the moment the battle starts. And whenever he triggers this critical hit, he has a 40% chance of inflicting a 1 stack of poison. And he also has accuracy buff, aura.
Aura, yeah.
Let's talk about aura.
50.
So poisoners need accuracy. They need accuracy, enlightenment, and attack, and that is why they're the hardest champions to build.
100%, yeah. Too many stats. They're needing stats, you know. So.
Yeah, they just need too many stats. They need to like make the poison like irresistible or something. That will work.
To get the most out of it, or just give it a bit of a buff, yeah.
Yeah, they need too many stats. And when he's doing his battle skill, he launches 3 attacks on the enemy. So as you can see, like he does damage based off his enlightenment as well. And this recharges his ultimate energy. So it actually works very well for him because his ultimate energy is actually pretty good for a poison comp. So whenever he launches these 3 swift attack dealing like 640% enlightenment damage, and each time to enemies within range with 100% chance of inflicting 2 stacks of poison. So it becomes 6 stacks. It's with each hit that he does this.
Okay, so that's how he stacks lots of poisons on the enemy.
Yeah. So this is also like really hard to build. You want crit rate, attack.
He needs everything.
he needs everything, and he ignores a lot of target defense. So you can use him in arena against certain DPS unit or weak teams, but generally speaking, melee units don't do well in arena because then you're just fighting the tank and you're not doing anything. But he's pretty good in a poison comp. Like if he's not going to be your main source of damage dealer unless you don't have Lothair or Vicania.
Yeah, but he's going to be paired very well with Vicania, for example, just because he put so many stacks of poisons, so that's going to be enabling the rest to do a lot of damage, so he's going to be important.
Yeah, so he's really important for that. And the best tank in the game now.
Dragonheir, freaking...
He's one of those champions that...
Freaking Dark Elf. It reminds me so much of Lord of the Rings, like, I don't know.
Oh, what was his name? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I forgot his name as well.
Yeah, me too. He's just giving me that look,
Yeah. But he's one of those few champions in the game that by himself, without an affinity buff, is usable in any comp.
100%. Like, he's just so good, man. Like, the aura is pretty good for arena, 45%, and then you have the passive. That chance to put an attack down whenever he attacks you, is just so good, and it doesn't have cooldown on it, so you could constantly keep the decrease attack, for example, on the vortex, especially that the vortex multi hits you, is increasing his chance of rocking it by quite a bit, so having that decrease attack on the boss is very good all the time, and the battle skill is pretty good too.
That passive is like really good because attack down, like we talked about it earlier, is one of the most important debuffs in the entire game.
Yeah.
Arena to PvE, whatever you're doing, this attack penalty 2 is broken. Especially on him, because you put him in arena and everybody attacks him, and there's no damage anymore. Like no DPS is going to one-shot you anymore.
What do you think about the battle skill?
It's amazing. Every part of his kit is just like amazing because he deals whatever damage he deals, that's not important, but he reduces the ultimate energy by 25%.
Yeah.
And it grants like healing too. So he is self-healing. He is putting the attack down constantly. And he, on top of it, he's reducing the ultimate energy. Right. And then if you move to his ultimate,
I like this one.
Everything. He has everything. He has control. He has debuffs. He has ultimate and energy decrease. So he's like a one-stop shop
for everything.
He's the Walmart of Dragonheir. He has 100% chance of taunting, and control, if you guys don't know, is one of the strongest debuffs in arena.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in PvE, but in arena it is really powerful. Like you want to have the control out as soon as possible, because the moment you control, they don't gain ultimate energy.
Yeah.
And he's immortal after that.
That's the good part, like not being able to kill him, it makes such a big difference, I feel like. That's why he's still the top of my list.
I mean, you can cheese. So I've been able to farm stage 9 of some of the hardest dungeons early on because of him. He puts unkillable on himself, so the boss cannot kill him. And you just keep healing him back to full.
Yep, that's the good thing about him. Still at the top of my list. Hopefully I'm gonna get him soon. Polwarth. Yeah. I'm seeing him pretty often in arena.
Really?
Yeah, surprisingly.
I've never faced him in arena.
Yeah, I'm seeing him pretty often. I don't know why they're using him so much in there, honestly. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of his design,
Yeah. His design is a bit weird too. He's a mushroom goblin.
Yeah.
He does bring like a very good accuracy aura for arena. But overall, to be honest, even I haven't played with him that much. I tested him a couple of times in beta. In that time, like he was okay. Like there are always so many better options that I never got a chance to try him.
Yeah.
But I would say, like in a poison team, if you don't have a good champion that puts up a lot of poison, he actually can put up a lot of poison by himself. So he's one of those tanks. He has the right kit, but something feels off with him. So his passive is like each debuff on the enemy field gives 2% damage reduction to the hero.
Stacks up
so
to
he,
10 times, so
yeah,
20% damage reduction.
yeah.
Decent,
So
but it's hard to have so... I mean, you could have so many debuffs for arena at the same time. It's fine. I think it's harder just for like PvE content, like against bosses, you know, to keep so many debuffs to get the full damage reduction out of his kit, you know.
yeah, no, you can get the damage reduction from his kit because when you're using in a poison team, like the scales up pretty fast. In arena, it's not going to be that much. It's going to be 8% at max. Like if you have one debuff on everybody,
Yeah.
especially because control doesn't count towards it. And then he has a control as well, so he taunts the enemies within range for 5 seconds.
Yep.
It's a decent range as well. And this mushroom that whenever it deals 900% enlightenment and derivative damage to the enemies within the range with one stack of poison. So he has a lot of going in his kit.
It's quite a lot.
It's just that like if you try to build him and use him, you somewhat feel underwhelmed. At least that was my feeling in beta. But again, I had like Urgander, somebody who's like constantly putting attack down.
Yeah, so
So
he
I
is
never
better
got a chance
options,
to use him that often.
Okay.
His ultimate casts a spore cloud that exists for 4 seconds, and he deals derivative damage to enemies within the range with accuracy penalty, and if they are under poison, he will put up attack penalty as well.
Yeah. Which is good having the attack penalty, but even if you're comparing like his derivative damage to others, you know, you see it's not as impactful. And then defense hero, this is kind of like one thing that only a few of them they have it right to deal damage based on their defense rather than their attack, you know. So that's the thing that I'm not such a big fan on some of these heroes. Like defense unit, but still the damage is based on his attack. I'm not gonna have attack on him. I don't want to have attack on him, you know. So they're kind of like making him to don't really put up damage rather than that to just give you a bit of a hope that he might do a bit of damage, you know.
Yeah, and also like if you're playing him in Vortex, right? Like this attack penalty is gonna last for 10 seconds, and his ultimate is going to recharge in 20. Yeah, so 10 seconds you won't have any attack down.
Yep.
Which is a big problem. That means for many champions which have it on battle skill, their downtime is 5 seconds.
So it's easier to get it back up and rolling. Yeah. I need to use 2, for example, to have the decrease attack. You know, I need to use 2 heroes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you don't have it, then it becomes a problem. But yeah, Ogre. This season he's actually really strong because he's paired with fire.
Yeah.
So he's been used in Vortex a lot.
Resistance aura. That's pretty nice too. Not many have it.
Yeah, not many have it, resistance aura. There are very few champions have it. And in some PvE content, you do need Ancient Battlefield is one of them, where one of your champions is going to get stunned.
Yeah.
So it's good to have. And he is actually one of those champions which also does a lot in his kit. He is a standalone support unit that can place attack down and heal the entire team. So his passive, when healing an ally, dispels 1 debuff from them.
That's very
nice.
So
you can use him in, it's pretty strong, and you can use him in Venom, where the boss places a defense down on your tank. So you can place him in a way that whenever he heals them, he dispels the buff.
That's good, yeah.
His battle skill is very unusual and makes placement in Vortex really hard. So it like bounces around and it heals the allies that it hits.
Okay, so it bounces on your allies to heal them. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, it bounces on the allies, and if it hits the enemy, it is going to place the attack down. So you see here, we were just talking about Talwar, right? And he had a 20-second ultimate with 10-second attack down.
Yeah,
this is a 5-second.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good on a battle skill.
Yep.
And his ultimate is it's pretty toxic if you ever face him in arena sometimes.
Yeah, the immortality. Yeah.
Yeah, he grants immortality, and then all allies heals all allies. And that heal is really strong.
3000% of the enlightenment, dude. Like that's so powerful, huh?
Yeah, it is really powerful. You don't really need attack on him, even if it says attack. You want to build him very tanky. But yeah, he has a lot going on his kit. He was, I remember in beta early days, I didn't have him, and he was one of my most wanted champion. Uh, he does a lot on his kit, and he's especially this season, he's great.
Yeah, very very interesting actually. He does bring the right things that you need in a support hero, you know. So that's dope.
Yeah.
And we should be having a couple more. This is a new one, right? The lizard, Rata.
Yeah.
She looks awesome design-wise. Really, really cool.
Yeah, her design is pretty amazing. She increases like the HP in City of Trials. Her passive is pretty good. For each debuff on the enemy, the damage dealt is reduced. So compared to like a lot of the like Talwar, each debuff he reduces the damage on himself. She's going to reduce the damage on everybody.
Yeah. So that's much better. See, like it's definitely a difference because you do want to have damage reduction on all your team rather than just one of the champions, you know.
So, for example, in Vortex, like she's gonna reduce that damage, and if you fight the higher stages, the 4 or 3, the boss actually hits pretty hard.
So you need that, and it's 30% damage reduction with the stack. So that's very good, yeah.
Yeah, and then her battle skill is also pretty good. Places the attack penalty.
Yeah.
And then you have accuracy penalty as well. Accuracy penalty, I personally don't use. I have never.
Yeah, I don't think like we need to anyway. I that's how I'm feeling about it at the moment too, and from what I remember from the beta, you know. But I don't think they'll surprise us with any new content at the moment. Who knows? We're gonna find out. But
yeah, she does place that, you know, a very important attack debuff.
Down, yeah.
And her ultimate, like, it's a cleanser, so it dispels all debuffs from all allies and then grants them defense up. See, it's a very good ultimate, but if it had healing, it would be much better.
Yeah.
Rather than defense up. She looks good on paper. It's very hard to put her in a team when you have like champions like Ogok, who are doing everything in the team. So as a support, I feel like there's something always lacking with her. So it's very hard to place her in a team where you want a lot of healing. Maybe in a team where, you know, in Fae Meander boss, she's very useful.
Yeah.
You can remove the poison debuffs. Or in Flame Dungeon. But yeah, you're not going to use her in Flame Dungeon because this season 1, Flame and Poison are together.
Yeah.
But season 2, maybe you can use her.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. She does have the full cleanse, which is great. The damage reduction, the defense up. So you could say, okay, she's gonna do a good job at giving some extra stats on my heroes and stuff to keep them alive. But and how you mentioned it, you need to think that you need to bring another healer. The decreased attack, it is on a 10 seconds cooldown up for 5 seconds. You might have to bring another one of those two to be something more consistent, so it's gonna be hard to rely just on her, you know. And then we have Mr. Twitch, man. This guy must be a fan of Twitch, you know. He might be chilling on Twitch all day. I don't know.
Yeah. I was told his design is like very similar to League of Legends character.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, from what I've heard. But yeah, he's actually pretty decent as well. He increases the same. He has the same aura as City of Trials.
Yeah.
So Fae Meander. He's actually his passive. The way it reads is like if any ally also does poison, it will have that. But I haven't seen it when I tested him. It didn't seem to proc. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be something wrong with the skill. It might be bugged or something, but it didn't proc for me. So if any of you have played with him and it did proc for you, leave a comment below. Let me know. But yeah. It's a good passive, but I just haven't seen it work. If it works, it's really good, right? Because whenever an enemy is infected with poison by a skill other than his passive skill, the hero has a 35% chance of inflicting 1 stack of poison.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that only when he does his ultimate, I feel like that procs.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I haven't seen it. So his battle skill, shoots an arrow. Very high enlightenment bonus, so you want to build him with a lot of enlightenment, and for every 60 enlightenment the hero has, he shoots up to 1 additional arrows.
Oh wow.
So straight away you know you need 300 enlightenment on him.
Yeah.
You want all the five arrows to go out.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and also have accuracy. And his ultimate launches a total of 4 attacks, and each one of them, I think, they deal poison.
Yeah,
So he's a good poisoner to have as well. Not as great as Durango, but he can put up a lot of poison by himself too.
that's good, yeah. So he's not a bad hero to have if you want a bit of extra damage in your team.
Yeah.
Seems like he can quickly shoot some arrows up there.
Yeah, you should actually see his ultimate animation. It's actually pretty nice. He
Is it, eh?
jumps up in the air and like shoots the
Quick
arrows
fire,
down
huh?
towards the enemy. Yeah.
That's nice, yeah. Awesome, bro. So this would make our poison legendaries as well. Curious to know your opinions in the comments as well, guys. Definitely let us know what you think about them. Which one is your favorite out of them?
Yeah, would love to hear if you've had different experience with some of the legendaries than us. But for next video, what do you think, Crash? Are we gonna do Frost?
Yeah, I think we can do Frost and Necrosis for next video, actually, yeah. That would be a good idea to see how those are performing, because Frosts are pretty strong, right? Like for
Frost is, I think, the strongest affinity in the game. For Arena, at least.
Yeah.
But overall, they are really good. So I think, yeah, Frost heroes, if any of you have, yeah, we're gonna cover that next time.
100%, but we'll catch you all soon, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Crash, for joining us.
A pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Bye.